Yes. So that is actually all the builds. And now I'm going to go over, for part 3, I want to go over the major glaring flaw that I saw. And I'm sure you will smack yourself in the head as soon as you realize it. There was nothing to deal with Weyoun and Barrel in any of the top builds. One attack canceller would have taken down both Peter and Joseph's builds.
That is... okay, so actually, give me a second.
Mm-hmm.
I need to look up...
They had absolutely zero disruption in their builds. They were both completely focused on what they were doing and nothing that the opponent was doing.
So that is not true. Peter never had to use him, but on Peter's shot, or that might have just been day 2 that he had.
Day 2 he had second of 5.
Second of 5, yeah.
But he ditched that for the World Championship.
Right, because nobody was running attack cancellation.
Mm-hmm.
So he read the meta and saw nobody's going to run this. So, but yeah, you're right. Like an attack cancellation build, especially a shuttle knot onto a yeah, you could just do a shuttle knot onto a diamond if you started Varel on the diamond and had a crew fleet captain somewhere else in the fleet, like on the shuttle with Weyoun.
Oh yeah, one of the builds I was even considering was making the science vessel a sacrificial target. Putting Martok on there, and also putting Varel on there with escape pods, so that if you actually did take out Martok, then Varel suddenly makes one of the spheres an attack canceller.
So I still contend that that's just a little bit too cute.
It is a little bit cute, but it forces them to engage my Borg instead of engaging my support. And who knows, cute might have worked, but we will not know today.
Yeah, attack cancellation would have absolutely wrecked that. Yeah, that's true.
I seem to remember that Peter had Brunt at one point.
He did.
Brunt actually, we'll talk about this next week on Tuesday when we do our commentary on the match. Brunt, in my opinion, won Peter the finals.
Yeah, so Brunt might have kept up with Weyoun Varel, because you could have constantly put an Ox there.
If you do it on a diamond, putting an Ox on it doesn't hurt too badly.
True. It would have restricted someone's options.
And that's also assuming that I was not going to still be running, Madred to kill Weyoun.
True.
It's true, yeah.
So, because Madred is going to be huge, he's going to be big. You just have to make sure you get that roll. Khan has the best chance of always surviving Madred, just because you can never boost Madred over Khan's skill level. But getting a skill 11 Madred is not actually that difficult if you really wanted to. It just seems a little bit too techy for my tastes. If I have to do that, I think I'd rather just take the chance on the 2 rolls, and for the most part, 2 rolls will do it, except for the very rare occasion, and sometimes that happens.
I mean, 2 rolls is 56% likely to kill the captain.
2 rolls?
Each roll is 56.
Sorry, one roll with 2 dice.
Yeah, is 56. Yeah,
it's 56% likely. Two times of doing that is like almost 70% likely to kill.
And if you get up to 3, you get up to like 90%.
Yeah.
And if there's ever one thing I've learned in this game, it's never trust your defense dice.
No. At that point, you're almost better off buying another core set and trying to figure out the defense dice that like you the best. I know that sounds weird, but just find them.
So that is one thing that like there were 2 sort of negatives for me that came out of Worlds in general, and I just sort of want to mention them because hey, this is my partially soapbox. And they both have to do with stuff outside of builds and stuff. Number 1, like this game needs rules clarification stat. Like there was a game where 1 attack was fired the entire game because of all the rulings that happened in that game. And I'm still, by the way, not sure what happens when you take the jostled navigator crit on a ship that's on a planet with maneuverability. But the other thing was WizKids has this thing called passive judging that I think is terrible.
Yeah, I put that in. I ended up putting that in my battle report.
Yeah, for those who didn't read it, judges at WizKids events do not correct things that are wrong that they see. They tell you after the game and hand out warnings, which means that if they see someone cheating, the game will continue under that effect until the end of the game. Like,
and it's still perfectly official.
Right, and what made me think of it is if you're using weighted dice, they can't do anything about it while the game is going on, and you might get disqualified, but the record of the game I think would stand. Like, your opponent would still take a loss or something. Like, it's ridiculous.
Right, both players would come out with a loss, or it's a loss and a forfeit,
or something like that. Yeah, it's
ridiculous. Yeah.
It's and I mean that isn't on the event judges, by the way. Ben Chung and his team did a really nice job, barring one ruling I disagree with, but let's not get into that here. It's like, and over one ruling that I disagree with over 3 days of this madness is very good. But like, the passive judging cannot be a thing. Like, if let me give you a really good example from my life that people understand is controversial. Let's say that the judge at Colorado had seen what me and Carl were doing. He wouldn't have been able to do anything about it. Even though he personally felt, and he told me, well, he said this on Board Game Geek, he felt that was unethical and should not have been done, which I recognize in retrospect. I seriously didn't think there was anything wrong with it at the time, but in retrospect, I recognize that people consider it that way. But he wouldn't have been able to do anything about it because
he could have handed you warnings, but that's all he is authorized to do.
Well, he couldn't even have handed me warnings in the middle of the game.
Oh yeah,
like he would have to sit there and watch us work it out, and then do something.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway, we should talk about other stuff. Rant over.
Yeah, so what came out of Worlds? What do we love? What is the new hotness, and what is going to stick around? Definitely Fleet Captain Independent Federation is gigantic. Combined with a second additional movement is what took both first and second places. I was kind of running that on day one, but it wasn't quite high enough skill. Getting Khan in there on something that's a high level, making sure he always goes last based on really the whole losing initiative thing is going to start getting huge to the point where I think we're going to start seeing Khan specifically on mirror ships on 120 points to guarantee the lowest initiative possible.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's starting to get silly. Like, I think we need to get into where X-Wing did it, where if you actually bid lower points, you choose whether you have initiative or not.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That needs to change.
I will say this. Other major winners from this event, I'm going to say I told you so a little bit because it was on my top 5 underdog ships list. Scout 608. Holy crap.
Yep, indeed.
I mean, so as a board player, as a dedicated board player, I was watching 608 and thinking to myself, the way it is moving is better than Borg movement was pre-nerf. Like, obviously it moved better,
Yeah.
But, like, I would rather, given the choice between pre-nerf Borg movement and Scout 608's movement, I would rather have Scout 608's movement. That was nuts. Are we disconnected?
We're disconnected for a second, but we're back.
Okay.
But you're saying Scout 608 movements is nuts.
It's nuts.
So, yeah. Just,
Hey,
wow.
I'd like to point out in our pre-Worlds coverage, I said Scout with diplomacy, improved deflector screens, and mag charges.
Oh yeah,
You
just
did.
had-
improved
I just had the
deflector
wrong
screens.
named Scout.
Mm-hmm.
Like
I
if
didn't
we're,
have all the stuff on there to throw away.
I mean, but that's the thing though, is that the other major thing is WizKids has been trying to make 3 and less hull ships better, and they've been doing it by handing out amazing upgrades with that restriction. Scout 608 can run all of them.
Yeah.
And the thing is, if you're running 3 ships and you need a capital ship for a shuttle or fighters, it doesn't have to be Scout 608. Your other thing can be a Sphere or something.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're running, at this point, probably the most maneuverable ship in the game with a pile of amazing upgrades and probably mag charges.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like our predictions from before, 2 ship, 2 fighter being the thing to beat. Well, people found the way to beat it. So it's a solid build, but you got to bring a little bit more than that. And in the little bit more category, suddenly 3 hull ships and less are shining. Once you get, as long as you don't forget to deal with the fighters, just in case someone brings them along. There were plenty of builds that did not actually bring along a set of fighters.
That's true. Fighters, only 2 or 4 of the top 4 had them.
Mm-hmm. Which I still think they're still way undercosted for their abilities, but if the meta swings so hard against them, then anything can be fought against. Maybe not Borg, because even when the meta was trying to swing against Borg, there wasn't much you could do in the old days. Was there anything? Like, even projected stasis field on Klingons wasn't doing that much.
No. It was helping, but it wasn't solving it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you this. Do you feel like the Borg rulings did enough? You
Absolutely.
Play. Yeah.
I mean, well, yeah, ask him.
Did enough? Well, did enough for their points? I mean, it's really hard to say. Like, the main question would be is if this would stand if the 50-point cap were removed. And I don't know that would happen.
Maybe, but the 2 in combination, I mean...
3 in combination.
You had Borg builds doing well because they were played by some of the best players in the game, but, like, it took the best players in the game to play them well. There was a 9-year-old kid with 2 tactical cubes, and he got his butt handed to him, which I think is probably... And actually, you know what? Here's an even better example. Jared Hoffman, in the top 8... now, he made the top 8 of Worlds with a build that he cribbed from Peter's Day 2 build. He was running basically the same shuttle knot build as Peter. And in his first matchup, he played against Joseph, running 2 bioships, and he got destroyed because he did not know how to maneuver his ships properly, and that was never a concern with Borg before.
Oh yeah, part of the strength of Peter's build was he had a solid plan, and he always executed it. And part of that plan involved, cloaked mines and staying behind them, and playing with the distance as he needed it.
Well, but my point is, that plan required a careful knowledge of how to maneuver his Borg ships. Mm-hmm. And that is not something I ever would have said about Borg months ago.
And also careful measurement to know that he could get in range 3 if he needed to.
Right.
That's the other biggest thing that I'm taking away from Worlds, is that there's people measuring a lot more often than I ever did in any game.
Mm-hmm.
And it is still legal. Like, people are... There are people joked about it back on Board Game Geek back in the day as like taking your 3 range ruler before your maneuver step and putting it down so you could see where the straight maneuvers would go, because they're the exact relative size. And it's because the rules only specifically say you cannot take the maneuver templates to measure, but we've got the range ruler to measure all day long. Because before then I was even going with my bonus movement abilities, just trying to guess how far I was going and doing it visually, and not knowing if, the 1 backwards would take me out into range 3 or past range 3, which I didn't want to do. And things like that. But especially you could see it in like the key turn between me and Peter was that he had the range ruler laid out on my science vessel, and he had moved his bio ship that he wanted to get going. And the question was, could he get there with the 2 bonus movements that he got? And it did, in fact. After the first one, it was easy, it was very plain to see that a 1 bank would get him right in the range he wanted. And that was huge. Like, if I were in his position, I'm not sure I could have made that. I would have made that call, but it was no risk to him at all. And now I just figure I got to measure a lot more often with my range rulers.
Yeah.
If you want to be careful, you just got to be careful about it.
It's things you practice, and it just becomes habit, play.
Though I wouldn't be surprised if suddenly not being able to measure with range rulers became the next thing that Worf nerfs. Peter and Joseph definitely were not bad about by any stretch. Don't get me wrong, but I think I did see a couple games where like the entire before movement step took like 20 minutes.
Okay, well, I'm just going to throw this out there. That was not Peter and Joseph playing. The person playing will go unnamed. But yes, I mean, it is a timing problem in some cases.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Last thing was apparently a ruling that I did not know about, but it's probably going to have to be reworded very soon from Worf, or else to prevent future misinterpretation. But the definition of surviving fleet. The definition of surviving fleet includes all cards that are placed face down underneath your ship card, and to place things face down underneath your ship card, they have to be discarded for their own ability. That is specifically what it says in the rules, but it was also ruled that if you discard them for any reason, if it's not their own ability, then they still go underneath. And if that was not the case, then Peter's build would have had a huge glaring hole in it.
Yeah, I mean, so look, one other thing, just in general, was every single player, including both Peter and Joseph in the final match, had at some point a rule of the game sprung on them that they didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact of the matter is, Will and I come from opposite perspectives. I had never considered it working any other way than your effects don't cause you to lose points. Mm-hmm. So to me, Peter's build had no problem. Will was coming in at the opposite direction. Why, when Will and I have been talking about this game together for a year, did this never come up? Because we just assumed it would be true. Like, both of us assumed that our interpretation was correct, and so unfathomably correct that we never questioned it, so we never brought it up. But that's not the case.
Yeah, even with something as ubiquitous as the interface generator ruling, that was like the very first big controversial ruling we ever had, there was someone at Worlds who didn't know it.
Mm-hmm. And it's in the FAQ, and I believe it's on Worf too.
Is it? That would make sense. But
it is in the FAQ. But...
Yeah. Well, I remember when we talked about Terrace, the Romulan captain that discards crew to fire 360, we all had said that the crew that she discards does not count as part of your surviving fleet.
I'm going to have to go back and watch that because I'm going to hold it over Tucker forever.
We did? I really don't remember saying that.
I'm pretty sure on that.
It's possible that you said it and I wasn't listening.
Mm-hmm.
I have to admit there was a stretch of time, and this stretch of time is basically over because they ruined the game. There was a stretch of time where I was playing Star Trek Online at the same time we did this podcast.
You're done with Stowe? You're done with Stowe?
I've been done with Stowe for a while. They really messed up the high level end game for experienced players. But I guess it's getting. I might go back to it. It's just I need to figure out if it really is worth it for me to wade through all of the BS again.
Gotcha.
But on the other hand, I still have 2 Delta recruits sitting there with none of their Delta recruit stuff done, so I may do that.
I have no idea what that means, but it sounds cool.
It was a promotion they ran for a while where if you created a new character during a certain time frame, you got extra content.
All right, you were talking about that. I remember that.
Yeah, it was cool. It was neat. And the Delta recruit I created for Federation is actually a Vorta. And that's the other thing, by the way. It is one of the reasons I pushed so hard to get Lauren on the Sphere, and I didn't tell Will this. It is inconceivable for me to see Will Sanchez play 3 days of a major event and not use one Vorta captain.
Oh, I know, isn't it? It's so weird. Maybe that's why my dice were rolling badly. It was because I didn't bring along my ever faithful buddy Wayoon.
Yeah. Although I just realized, you know what I sort of like? Kevon on a Scout 608 with improved.
Kevon only works in Arc. We tried this.
Oh, god damn it! That's right.
Yeah.
I thought the reason you couldn't put him on board was that he was a Hull 3 or less guy, but no, he's an Arc guy.
Yeah.
There's like 2 broad restrictions. I can't never remember which one is which.
And he's just like Picard 6, and you love him. He gives you a terrible drawback, but if there's no one to take advantage of it, who cares?
No, but I mean that's what I'm saying is that I like him because I know I'm using that. Well, oh, shut up.
This is why we have fun, Tucker.
I know. Seriously though, the other major thing, by the way, that was disappointing to me was that Wave 15 was not legal at Worlds because I really wanted to run a DS9 with 3 Bajoran militia on it.
I would have sworn prizes were supposed to be Wave 16 before I went there, but
I am positive they changed it. Like
they had to have. Everyone thought it was going to be Wave 16.
I would swear up and down, I would bet anything you wanted that it originally was Wave 16.
It was. Because I was going, oh, they're doing a wave early.
And that would have been awesome! So awesome!
You guys... Yeah, you guys would have been able to do previews a month early.
Yeah, that's right. I specifically remember that because I was planning on doing side events because I wanted to win a Pasteur.
Right.
WizKids, take note. Preview events where you launch next wave a month early, people will go for that. Because we're giant nerds.
Dude, WizKid, like, Kyle came over and watched the World Championships for all of about 5 minutes before he went to dinner. Mm-hmm. That was the only time WizKids paid us any attention at all the entire tournament.
Oh.
Like, no, I mean, seriously. Like, I loved doing coverage, and I'm super happy I did coverage, but it did kind of suck to look over and see the... I forget the name of them, but the streaming service they specifically hired to come in and do HeroClix and Dice Masters, and the staff photographer taking photos of the Dice Master finals, and it's like, I am, on the one hand, I'm happy that basically I'm allowed to do all the coverage because nobody else is, but like, come on guys, this game makes up like 25% of your revenue.
That is what they said in whatever their last release was, wasn't it?
Really?
Yeah. No, this was the other mystifying thing. People are asking on Facebook, like, so what does the fact that there are 12 players say about the health of the game? And it's like, it's impossible to say because this game is, they are selling ships hand over fist, but nobody's playing with them. Like, everywhere, the two things you see are, on the one hand, WizKids is getting you, they just get huge numbers from this game. And on the other, on Facebook, anybody's like, so does anybody play around me at all?
Where can I find an OP event?
Or not even just an OP event. Like, where can I find casual pickup play? I am positive that I am the only person in the entire state of New Mexico who plays this game. Like,
No, I've seen some people that play in Albuquerque.
They used to. I don't think they do anymore. Like, trust me, I tried to hook up with them. But seriously, yeah, it's weird. I mean, I guess it's like Beanie Babies or something. Totally serious comparison.
That reminds me of my early childhood.
I was just making sure you weren't taking a poke at my little manta ray that people have been noticing on all my battle reports.
Yeah, no, your Manta Ray, I'm pretty sure, did nothing except screw your dice, Will.
That's cool. He looked cute doing it.
He did.
And he was blue, so blue is the color of Star Trek Attack Wing. Move to Canada. Guelph has a good group. Omicron.
Wait, that's where
Joseph
Peter,
is. Joseph and Peter.
Yeah, Peter.
Who's Omicron? Are you?
I'm all for that.
Are you that guy? Are you the Canadian fanboy? What was it? Chris Dove?
Chris Dove.
Are you Chris Dove? I'm looking at you. I'm watching you. You and all your Canadian friends. I'm watching you all.
Will doesn't like Canadians very much right now.
Darn.
Will, this is a bit of trivia. Will lost 4 games over the course of all those days, and they were all to Canadians.
And only to Canadians.
And Will, to my knowledge, has not lost a match to a American player at any competitive event.
Premier level. I've lost in the
Premier
regular
level, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
the store OPs because.
Dude, you play enough OPs, and like after a while, like you stop even trying.
Law of averages.
Somebody's gonna beat you someday because your dice are cold and their dice are hot.
Right, but at a premier event, at both regionals he went to, he went undefeated, and at Worlds he went undefeated by American players, but he lost every time to Canadians. It was hysterical.
Darn Canadians! Get off my lawn!
Canadians!
That is actually entirely accurate. Every Canadian I lost to was also running con at the same time.
And Con was your bane in the in that one game. As I said on Board Game Geek, he tasked you.
You know what, Will? Though, I think you should admit they were probably some of the nicest guys you've ever played with.
Oh yeah, and they were great to room with, and we had a great time. And it was especially nice that they didn't, like yell at me when it was 3:30 in the morning, and I was still trying to figure out what build I was going to run later that day, and didn't get to sleep until 7.
Well, to be fair, that's because Peter was crashed out, and I was busy beating Joseph at Doomtown.
Yeah, there's that too.
No, dude, it was so. Can I indulge? Can I indulge a little bit?
All right, you got 2 minutes.
Okay, for anybody who plays Doomtown out there, I played Law Dogs, he played Sloan. I lured him into a shootout where he called out Wendy. He called out Wendy unbooted. He showed up with 4 dudes. I was able to get 4 dudes in. 3 of them were booted, but I Wendy'd his only stud home. So we ended up comparing hands. I had a 2-pair legal. He had a single pair cheating. But I had a pair of 6-shooters, so that 2-pair turned into a full house, and then Tommy Harden went off, and it was just a bad day for him. Okay, I'm done.
Everyone who plays Doomtown got that, and it was actually magnificently epic play. Everyone else doesn't know what that did at all, but that's okay. Remember,
it's one of those rolls where you turn like. You roll your dice and you get like 1 hit and 5 blanks, and you turn it into 3 crits and 3 hits or something.
you roll the dice and it comes up naturally 5 criticals.
But there was a lot of modification involved. But yeah.
But yes, that was fun. And yeah, it was overall a great weekend. Had fun, played games, played more Star Trek than I played in the last 6 months, man.
Mm-hmm.
And my hashtag was "Wish I could have been there."
Yeah, I even got to play Dan Evans. Who of you were here back in episode 1, 2, 3, where Dan Evans was our guest host?
I was.
He was a cool
I
guy.
sort of.
I
He
was
is.
watching you from the beginning, Will. I love this show.
Even when we had no clue what we were doing, and my biggest thing was, guys, do you not understand how good cloaked mines are? Laid out a map, built my own token, which is the full size of the cloaked mine token, and be like, avoid that. Those are fun and hilarious. But yeah. That's going to do it for time for us, guys, I think. Next week, we're going to be looking... Next Tuesday, we're going to be going after the full replay of the final match from Worlds. Apart from that, any other news? We still have Wave 15 things to do. Because, well, they just got released. And Wave 16, I'm sure, will have previews right around the corner. So we're going to be really packed for the next month. And, yeah, that's all I can think of off the top of my head right now. Tucker, anything for you?
I'm trying to think. Oh, yeah, one other cool thing I learned. This is sort of a preview cool thing that I learned from Kyle at WizKids. Blind boosters for next year. Yes, they will happen, and there will be 10 ships in each brick of 10.
Holy
so no more
cow.
duplicates.
Ooh.
So many ships, and we're still getting the monthly 3 a wave.
Yeah,
Inundated.
I hope you can keep up, guys.
Well, did they say if that's going to be for like one series or?
Actually, what they said was they did tell me that they said that it would be basically for the entire year.
Okay.
Or like the entire. It would be for more than one series. Is the point? I don't recall exactly what the phrasing was, but definitely for more than one. Sort of a.
Oh. So instead of like the 5 for Collective and the 5 for Resistance, like if we mix them all together and just did them throughout both of those events.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Which I think is probably for the best, honestly.
I think so too.
I did end up with a lot of doubles and triples of the Collective and Resistance ones, so I'm all for that. Matt Dobson. Hi, Dobson. Welcome to State of the Federation. Glad you could join us.
Yeah, I know. Matt's on Trek Talking a lot.
Oh, that's cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
Indeed. And last but certainly not least, David, I believe you have an announcement for us.
I do have an announcement. Next Tuesday will be my last episode of State of the Federation.
No! David!
So, yeah, Will and Tucker have known about this for, well, a few days. But I'm kind of launching my own thing. You guys have seen the shipyard review videos that I'm doing. I'm launching my own podcast. Just focusing more on casual aspects, community stuff. We're still kind of in planning phase. Different ideas. So I'm departing this, but I'm by no means out of the Star Trek Attack Wing world.
He is just out of mine and Tucker's super competitive, gotta kill everybody circle.
Yeah, and, you know,
Tucker, your microphone is ruining this beautiful moment.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure out what's causing that. I'm just going to mute myself.
Will and Tucker have extended the invitation for me to come back here every once in a while, so you'll probably still hear me from time to time, but I won't be back on a weekly basis. So, it's been a fun ride. I've greatly enjoyed my time here for almost 40 episodes, and yeah.
So
it's
45
been a blast.
started episode 9? I believe it was.
8.
Because I think 8 was the first run, but besides that,
Something like that.
it was a lot. Better part of a year at least.
Yeah, we started in mid-late July, so it's been.
We started last year Gen Con.
I always remember actually that we started. I think it was the day after my birthday.
Happy birthday!
Okay.
Oh wait, that's still a little bit a ways away.
It's a little over a month away. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah.
So yeah, it's.
From the first Gen Con debacle to all the way through to the first World Tournament.
Yeah, we had all kind of made a pledge that we'd stick through State of the Federation through Worlds and see what happened, and
Mm-hmm.
I kind of made my determination after Worlds that I was kind of done, but yeah.
I mean, frankly, I was half expecting, all of us to just be done, period, with the games at some point, maybe, but...
Yeah, but I'm by no means done. Worlds has re-energized me. I think it's re-energized all of us.
Yeah,
I just want to play against Joseph and Peter some more, because, man, those were some great games.
I mean, and for me, honestly, it was... So the place I'm in right now is I'm not playing competitively much anymore, but I still love building lists for this game. I love building crazy rogue builds and seeing the sheer diversity. It is almost impossible to describe what the builds at day 2 looked like. It was just anything goes. And compared with that and the fact that there really wasn't one strategy dominating at Worlds, like everybody ran Scimitars day 1, but it didn't work. So everybody just went back to the drawing board, came out with a bunch of crazy stuff. I don't think there's any one dominant strategy now, and it is just amazing. Also, doing coverage was really fun. I may well find myself traveling to tournaments to cover them, not even to play in them. So, yeah, I mean, Worlds was great in that way. I think we're all sort of excited about what's on the horizon now, especially because, we have some ships coming up that have some interesting things, that may shake things up a little bit. Who knows?
And I got a couple free packs to keep my habit going, so hey, guess it works. I've got Core, and he didn't cost me anything, well, except a trip to Ohio and the entrance to the tournament. But
oh my god, it's not like you weren't there every single day for 12 hours anyway.
I know, right? Walked away with Core, that was the important one. Because he's gonna definitely be fun in some new future builds, I'm certain. But
and I know it's way too late for WizKids to do anything about this, but WizKids, if Kang is on the Tong or the Rataran, I am going to be so happy.
Indeed.
Plus, Will, you're now number 3 Star Trek tackling player in the world. So.
And hopefully they will update their leaderboard sometime soon, so I can actually brag about it more.
Yeah, and
no, they did.
Did they? Did they finally? Because I looked at it this morning and it was still said last updated June 3rd.
No, it's updated to. It was updated June 10th.
Alright, I'm going to go check that, guys. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for State of the Federation. Come watch us again, of course, on Tuesday for the final match coverage and David's last going away party. And I'll look to the horizon for cool new things happening with State of the Federation. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Hope you enjoyed this and all of our other Worlds coverage we have been doing over the past week. We hope you continue to enjoy our show. Whoever's here and whatever we can get out of it. And really, if you're frustrated with the game, we've been there, we've done that. But if you can actually just get out there and play it some more, I think you'll remember, man, this game was pretty fun. Let's play some more of it. Alright, so go out there, play some more games of Star Trek Attack Wing, and as always, may Q be generous with your dice. Have a good night, everybody.
State of the Federation is a production of Will S. in association with Tucker C. and David M. We are not associated or affiliated with WizKids games, and except where specified, WizKids did not endorse or approve any of our podcasts. All copyrights are copyright of their respective rights holders.